Welcome to Hospitality Financial Management NHM 467. I'm doing a generic video this time for both summer courses and traditional session courses. So think about the information that's relevant to you and discard what is not applicable. First of all, for the summer students, you've got about 4 weeks to fit in a 4-month course. That being said, if you've ever taken a summer course, instead of having 2 to 3 classes, 50 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes each week, you've got 5 classes, 2.5 hours, 5 days a week. I guess that came out wrong. You've got class 5 days a week for 2.5 hours a day. How's that? Does that sound better? That being said, you need to be able to dedicate that much time to an online course as well as an on-ground course. The requirement for an on-ground course is you'd be in the classroom, then you'd still have to do homework, so there may be even a larger than that 2.5 hour requirement per day. On the regular semester, I think the biggest challenge is going to be that you have to be self-motivated to do the work before the scheduled test times. Test times are non-negotiable. I give you a 24-hour period to take the test. What I would do is I would look at those test dates, I would look at your schedule, and I would schedule taking the test either in the testing center. And when I say schedule, I mean make an appointment. Contact the testing center and make a time appointment. And don't learn the wrong way or the hard way. They don't allow you to come late. If you have a 2 o'clock testing time and you get there at 2:15, they're not going to let you in. So you need to make sure you get there 10 minutes early and are ready to go. If you choose to take the test from an alternate location, not from the testing center at one of our campuses, you'll need to use ProctorU, and it's going to be a small fee to have ProctorU use your computer camera to watch you take the test. So far, I haven't had any academic integrity issues as far as students not being honest on the tests. So hopefully in the upcoming semesters that will be the case as well. I've given you both my office number and my cell number on the syllabus. Please only use the cell number for this course. For some reason, students want to go ahead and once they get my cell number, they want to contact me to ask me when deadline is for graduation applications, or what's when is Spanish 202 offered, or something like that. I'm not the old Miss Information Center once you have my phone number. So as far as this course, use it freely to ask questions, to go over information. The first semester I taught this course, I was actually camping across the country, and I would have students email me their homework or their problems that they were having challenges with, and then I would call them and we would go over the problems, and it worked out real well. If you feel more comfortable making an office appointment, we can schedule an office time. Or if you're out of town and you want to do a Skype or a FaceTime or some type of virtual conferencing, we can do that too. As far as class times, because it's a virtual class, you can do your work anytime you want to. The class is set up with 4 modules, and after each module there's either a project or a test. There'll be 3 tests that you need to take at the testing center or ProctorU, and 1 will be a take-home test. As far as the textbook, it's required from day 1. So if you don't have the text today, you may be in trouble, and there are some options. You might be able to check one out at the library. You might be able to rent one as an ebook and put it on your iPad or on your computer. Or you may there may be one here at the bookstore. I don't know. But I sent an email out 2 weeks ago in the hopes that everybody would go ahead and order their textbooks and have them ready to go. And let's hope that happened. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the mission statements and the PLOs and SOOs and things like that of this course. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about the nuts and bolts. First of all, prerequisites for the course are Accounting 201 and NHM 310. At one time it was NHM 210, believe it or not, and we upped the number because of the rigor of the course. And as far as the grading, 70% of your grade comes from the tests and 30% comes from online participation and homework. So what that means is that if you turn in all of your homework and you answer all of the discussion questions and respond to other discussion questions as you're required to in a quality manner, you'll have a 30. And then you can get a 50 on all of your tests and still pass the class with a 65. The Achilles heel to that is that if you don't do your homework and you don't do those discussion posts or respond to others' posts as you're required to, you can get hundreds on all of your tests and never have a higher than a 70 in the class. So if you don't do the bottom two, the 30%, it's a good chance you're not going to pass the course. However, if you do all of them, it really benefits you in bumping up your grade if you're having trouble with the tests. I require all of my homework to be turned in a professional format, and what that means is that it has to be either in a Microsoft Word or an Excel format. I know that most of you students have been shying away from learning Excel, and probably you would consider it a success if you graduated here from Ole Miss and didn't master Excel. But the first thing that's going to happen when you land a job is they're going to either ask you to put together a budget or a schedule or a project of some sorts where you have to use Excel, and then you're going to have to learn it. So you're better off becoming pretty proficient at it while you're here as opposed to while somebody's paying you to do it. As far as the online participation, like I said, we have discussion questions. There's usually about one a chapter, and you need to leave at least 2 responses to other students' answers. Your responses need to be substantive, and by that I mean you couldn't say, Susie, I really liked what you said, or Susie, thanks for clarifying that. Susie, great job. Those aren't going to get you full points. Where if you said, Susie, I was confused at how the income statement tied to the balance sheet and in creating the statement of cash flows, but you did a great job of explaining that. That would be a better answer. Or, if somebody was talking about a concept and you didn't believe that they were accurate on it, you could ask them questions about their response in hopes that they would figure out that they were on the wrong track. The beauty of asking questions in that way is if they were on the right track and you were on the wrong track, when they answer it, you'll understand how your thinking was off as opposed to theirs. Exams are going to consist of multiple choice questions, problems, and then there's a short research project for the chapter 5. And once an exam's taken, ex post facto excuses for performance will not be considered. That means that you can't come to me and say I was sick that day and I went in there anyway because of my scheduled time and I bombed the test. Although it is a huge challenge for me to alter the test dates, and it's extremely frowned upon by both ProctorU and the testing center here. In extenuating circumstances, I can go ahead and get that test date moved. I'm not going to move it because you're traveling. I'm not going to move it because you're having to work. You've got 24 hours to take these tests on those days, so you ought to be able to work them into your schedule. If by chance 2 days before the test you get the flu, you're in bed, you break your ankle, you're in the hospital, we can go ahead and get those test dates moved. As far as makeup tests, if you just missed the test and you contact me 2 days later, I'm not going to do anything. We need to go ahead and make plans ahead of time. We talked about homework being in a professional format. It needs to be turned in before you take tests or you're not going to get any credit for it. The beauty of this class with the videos is you can actually watch the lecture video while you're working on your homework, and look at the examples while you're working on the homework, struggling through your homework assignments. And then finally, I treat homework in this online course the same way I do if we were taking it on ground. Your homework is graded on attempt and not on correctness. My thought process is that I want you to go ahead and do the homework and figure out what you don't know, and then watch the solutions to the homework and understand where you were erroring or where your bottlenecks were, and then spend time reworking those problems so that you can become proficient on the skills that we're working on or being tested on. Quizzes, I probably won't give any quizzes in this online format. It's really not gauged for it. But if I find that everybody is bombed a certain concept on a test, I take it as a system problem, and I would go ahead and develop another lecture and a quiz to beef up the test grades where everybody missed the concept. As far as class participation and attendance, there is no scheduled class time, so you can't be late to a scheduled class. There is no scheduled class time to miss, but you still need to go ahead and budget time to this course. And I mean, I would go ahead and have a budget 15 hours a week during the summers, and then you could cut that in a quarter to about 4 hours a week during the regular semester, or else you're not going to be able to be successful in the course. As far as assignments for the tardiness, they're going to be penalized 25% for each day after the original due date, and we're using 11:59 p.m. as the latest acceptable time for the due date. So as an example, you haven't done any of your discussions before the test, and you want to go ahead and make them up, you've only got 4 days before it's worth nothing anyway. My recommendation is you've got a flexible schedule to do your discussion questions, to complete your homework and turn it in, and I would not get in the habit of waiting 2 days before the test and then trying to do all of your work for the class. It's just not going to stick. You're not going to do well on the test. You're not going to be successful. Last summer I had a handful of students who started out that way, and they really struggled and affected their grades. By the same token, I've had other students who will start working on the assignments as soon as the modules open, and give themselves plenty of time to master the material, and they did real well. I don't think there's any reason why anybody can't get an A in this class with the format I have, and you being able to re-watch the lecture videos as many times as you want, and re-watch the solution to the homework videos as many times as you want. And I do apologize that I have a pretty monotone voice, and there's no jokes, there's no humor in this class. If you need to go to sleep, just go ahead and put on one of these videos, and it'll help you there. You may use them in future semesters. As far as final grades, I'm not going to give them out over the telephone or via email. I'm going to go ahead and the grade book will help you keep up with grades. I may have to double check the grade book. I can't remember if it was if I fixed it or not, but it was calculating final grades a little bit inaccurately last semester. And since I hate Blackboard and I don't use Blackboard very often, I don't know that I fixed it. But I'll keep a parallel grade book on an Excel spreadsheet to make sure that it's working properly, and hopefully I can tweak it and make it work the way it should before the end of the semester. Actually, before it starts. I am extremely available this over the next couple of semesters. So if you do need help, like I said, on ground, feel free to schedule a meeting with me. As far as expectations of you all, even though we're virtual, you could still be disrespectful. When you're doing those discussion posts, just like the homework, I expect them in a professional format. This isn't a text discussion area. This is a university academic discussion area, and by that I mean I want full sentences, I want correct punctuation, I want real words. I don't want to see letters for numbers and numbers for letters. 2 is not the number 2 as far as TO, and U is YOU, not the letter U, and a sentence doesn't end with a smiley face. So let's keep them in a professional format, and let's make sure that when we're responding to other people's posts that we're responding in a way that we don't offend anybody if they're not on track, and we keep everything in a professional format. And if you decide to drop the course during the summer and take it in the fall, just shoot me an email so that I know that. And here is a quick look at the modules, and of course everything moved a little bit on me, but you can see that it gives you the questions that you need to do. It tells you which chapters we're covering. It tells you what's going to be on the test. The tests are weighted based on chapters. The project is actually a single test grade. So Module 2 has chapters 4 and 5 in it, so it's a 2-chapter module. Module 1 is 3 chapters, so it's going to be weighted higher than Chapter 2, or Module 2, and then again, there's 3 and 4. So I'm not going to read about the student disability services, but if you do have a disability, you need extended test time, get the paperwork to me and I'll go ahead and make provisions for that. As far as academic honesty and fairness, if you were dishonest, I'm just going to go ahead and turn you over to the authorities. I'm not going to deal with it personally, and hopefully you all will be as professional as my students in the past in the course, and we're all going to have a good time, and we're all going to do well. So I'll see you in the threads, as we say, in the online environment. And like I said, I am available if you need a face-to-face session to get you up to speed on any of the concepts. Good luck.